PvP players suck. Every time I've encountered anyone on PvP/Eternal War, they're always scumbags. I haven't met a single person who has been respectful or nice. I've been trying to get achievements done on Eternal War, and it's been absolute torture. I don't know if it's just me encountering these types of people, but I decided to say something today. Okay. Everyone on PvP is toxic. This is an interesting post for sure. It's not something that I hear very often about Eternal War. For the most part, people just jump in just because they're kind of just hanging out. They just want to get a couple, PvP battles in. They just, kind of want to play the game without being too sweaty. Even though PvP can get really sweaty, I think for the most part, it's kind of laid back. You kind of just jump into PvP because it's, it's something to do. Maybe you don't have enough time for an operation. Maybe you just want a quick 10-minute PvP match, something like that. But this is interesting. Definitely let me know in the comments if you guys came into toxic players in the PvP, if you encountered a lot of toxic players in PvP, because I haven't. I have not seen. In fact, I've seen more people be AFK in PvP in my time. But that said, I haven't played PvP I have not played PvP in a while. I guess a couple weeks at this point. It's going to be interesting to see, PvP get some updates. I really, really want to see some PvP updates. I feel like that's one of the biggest things that's kind of killing PvP right now. It is not the toxic players. It is the fact that the mode has not been updated. The extra map was nice, but you know what? Yeah, PvP is fun. It's just, you don't really have to commit to it for any reason. But this is it. This is definitely an interesting post. I'm gonna go into the comments to see if anyone kind of pointed out how weird this post can sound. It only sounds weird because this dude literally says, "I haven't met a single person who's been nice in PvP." Like, dude, this is the one thing that kind of throws people off because past PvP games are definitely way more toxic than what Space Marine 2 has. Like, even Fortnite can get more toxic than Space Marine 2. But yeah, that's the thing. There's a lot of people who have had bad experiences with PvP, and that kind of makes them hesitate with trying Eternal War. But yeah, I just want to say there's no shot. There's no shot that this game's PvP community is as toxic as, as anything that's been a PvP centered game since the beginning of PvP. No, seriously, like, for whatever reason, I've never seen too much. I haven't seen too much toxicity in PvP in this game. So I'm definitely confused on where this post comes from. I don't know what you're talking about, to be honest. After 400 hours in PvP, I'd say this community is the least toxic I've ever met in PvP games overall. What exactly do you mean by toxic? If it's just because they're doing something that ruined your ordeal's progress, it's not their fault. Most of them are trying to actually win the match. Okay, well, that's interesting. All right, the original poster actually responded to this, which is interesting. I'm on console. I haven't played PvP for long. It's nice to see that people have fun on PvP, but I'm talking about group posts for Xbox. Oh, well, that makes sense. Now this makes a lot more sense. Since there isn't any game chat on live matches, I go for group posts on Eternal War. Not one person has been like, "Oh, my bad," or been nice in any way. I'm not saying there isn't nice people. I just had bad luck on posts, I guess. Well, yep, that's the issue. The issue is you're going into Xbox communities and expecting them not to be toxic. Just kidding. Not every Xbox player is toxic. It's obviously, like, not an Xbox-centered problem. It does sound like the people they are encountering are sweaty PvPers. They are looking for good PvPers, and then I guess they're just super mad that they lost. I don't know. The PvP in this game isn't so hard to understand that I feel like there's going to be a group of people who are just, like, super better than everybody. What definitely seems to, what definitely kind of sets apart the players with experience in this game is just knowledge. Like, frankly put, when you see an assault player jump up in the air and drop a Melta, the reason why that's working isn't because that player is super good. It's because they tried it out and learned how to use it. So, boom. Knowledge goes a very far way in PvP, so just learning how to use your kit can go a very far way. Not one person has been like, "Oh, my bad," has been nice in any way. Yeah, I will say this is kind of like a side point, but making sure you admit your mistakes when it comes to gaming or anything, I guess, is the first step into improving. Because if you never think you ever make a mistake, then you don't need to improve anymore. but if you're not actually as good as you think, it's like delusions of grandeur, right? Basically, you can think you're better than you are, but until you start to actually, until you start to take accountability or responsibility for your mistakes, you're never going to improve in the game. You're just going to think you're improving, but yeah, you're going to be set up where some guy is just trying to look for a group, and then you let that guy jump into the group, and now all of a sudden that guy is what's, that new player is what is losing you the game, not anything that you've done. So yeah, I think PvP in this game is actually pretty easy to comprehend. I just think, with that comes the fact that if you're making a mistake in PvP, it's pretty noticeable. This sounds very much like you're going into PvP and are upset that you expect everything to do what you say. You expect everyone to do what you say? Dare I say, to farm ordeals. Oh, I've done a ton of PvP. I think I can recall a single mic, maybe once, perhaps the odd chat, saying, stick together. Nothing remotely that would make me say everyone is a scumbag. No, I know. The hyperbole behind this post is what really kicks me. It is pretty funny. But yeah, dude, no, to be completely honest, like, it does seem to be really hard to find actual toxic matches. It does seem to be the case with this post. Unfortunately, this player has seemingly found the most toxic place for Space Marine 2 PvP. So, I mean, that's kind of an achievement, That's kind of an achievement. But yeah, for the most part, players being mean on PvP, it's definitely not a Space Marine 2 issue. It's more so just the fact that the original poster here just ran into some toxic players who were looking to play some PvP. People with high PvP levels running in alone and then blaming their team for them dying happens almost every game I've played. First push, we push together, get wiped, but the people who died first always just run back in without getting a read on the fight, die, then call everyone else bad. I get it's on objective game and you need to hold it, but if you're running in alone, you're just feeding them kills. Not sure if that's what they're referring to, but it's why I don't play PvP anymore. Okay. This is an interesting comment. I don't think this is a reason to not play PvP. But yeah, sometimes I do this also. But yeah, here's the thing. With PvP, staying aggressive on a certain point is the way you gain ground. So let's say I jump on the point, I die, and basically I respawn. Am I better off waiting for my team? Well, the thing is, there's still a couple players on their way to the point, and I'm pretty much in the middle. There are players who are respawning, and then there are also players who are jumping in on point. So you definitely don't want to feed. But anticipating the next point is where you want to be. Like, for example, especially for the example I just set, if I'm waiting for my team to respawn, but I notice the next point is going to respawn soon, then you should head over there a little bit early. If your team does not follow you to the next point, that's just a bad team. And yes, you guys are likely to lose that match. Still nothing to get toxic over. However, again, this game, when it comes to PvP, is very easy to comprehend. So yeah, sometimes it can get frustrating where it's like, hey, guys, the next point just showed, let's go over there, and then you still get half of your team going to the old point. Yeah, that's those sort of moments is what kind of makes me frustrated when it comes to PvP. However, at the same time, it's kind of like, what do you expect? This PvP game isn't supposed to be sweaty. It's really just supposed to be for fun. And with the ordeals now, I do think you have more people jumping into PvP just looking to get some grenade kills or something. But yeah, for the most part, PvP isn't that sweaty. It's very easy to comprehend, but it can get frustrating when you see players just not comprehending it. The PvP is like, it's kind of watered down, right? It's essentially just point. It's very classic PvP. There's nothing, there's not too many bells and whistles. But that's why it gets confusing when you still play with players who can't comprehend like point maps and stuff like that. And yeah, the players who are just kind of moseling around the map, not really looking for anything. It can be weird. It can definitely be weird with the ordeals. With all that said, I still enjoy PvP a lot. Whenever I play PvP, I have a good time. I just been, jumping around, trying out different weapons, and frankly, we're all just waiting for the patch right now. We're kind of just waiting for the patch. So at the moment, this is kind of like the downtime for the game where everyone's kind of trying out new games and stuff. And when the patch arrives, everyone will come back to the game. But yeah, the moments before the patch is pretty much when the game is, kind of in a weird spot. It's in a weird spot. Because yeah, moments like this is interesting where you see players like jumping onto Xbox groups and them actually sweating over PvP. It's kind of interesting to see. It's because it's like, in my cases, not many people want to sweat over PvP. They just kind of want to casually enjoy PvP. So it's kind of odd to see a post like this. But yeah, regardless, we're all waiting for the patch. PvP is not as toxic as this guy says, as we were able to get to the bottom of it. This guy is on Xbox groups, and for whatever reason, he's finding toxic players on Xbox groups. So don't be afraid to jump into PvP. PvP is very casual friendly. You are not going to get, you're not going to get called out for being bad in PvP, because frankly, maybe everyone is bad. Everyone is bad and toxic in PvP right now.